Cowboys Knights.
Yeah.
This is interesting. And I tell you, the reason I give the Knights a great chance...
Talking about bias here or just generally thinking?
I'll talk generally, and I mean this, see what you think about it, is that Dolphins are a very good grafting team. They graft and they grind, they get you in the arm wrestle. There was moments in the game the other day that they were sort of just going about their work, and I was starting to see a bit of the gas going out of our defence, and I was thinking, oh, where's this going?
Our defence?
The Knights' defence, the red and blues defence.
Just double-checking where...
And I thought, but they hung in there and they got through it.
Yeah.
What's the one thing I reckon the Cowboys have struggled with this year? Cowboys they burst out of the barriers and they just go for it.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why there's a big difference between their best and their worst.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what you're going to get. That, for me, the fact that if the Knights can get there and they can make this an ugly, stop-start game and just a grind, I think they can beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, when there's a huge gap between your best and the worst, the best way to highlight the worst, so it gives you a best chance of playing, is bring the game into the trenches and make it really tough and uncomfortable. If you make it stop-start, if you make it free-flowing and flamboyant, then that team that can go to a height like the Cowboys will find it. But if you make it like really ugly, it might just drag the Cowboys out. But I think the Knights, they've got to, wrestle around with the Cowboys' inconsistency, and then Kalen has to strike like he did on the weekend. On the flip side, did you see the Cowboys' performance on the weekend?
Yep, classy.
Like, wow. Yeah. It was a statement in my mind that I had question marks around the Cowboys, and then they delivered that, and I'm thinking, holy hell, if they can do that again for the month, they could just be a team.
Coops, but through this season, I've thought that 4 or 5 times.
We've done this, yes. Yep.
4 or 5 times I've gone, wow, here come the Cowboys, and then boom.
Yep. Their defensive intent on the weekend, through the example of Cotter, was tremendous.
I love Cotter as a player.
And then Dearden's direct style and the way that he ran the football forced everyone else to follow him.
Yep.
So I think their leadership is key to how the Cowboys go.
Righto, Coops. Roosters and Penrith. Roosters, they've lost the last 9 times against Penrith. OK, you tell me, how the Roosters going to win this? How do they change their formula so it's not 10 losses in a row?
Yeah, see, I think most people will automatically think to scoring points, and I understand that. That's the way the game's got to score more points than the opposition. But I think they need to have their best defensive game of the season. I know with Walker out, Brandon Smith out, they lose a lot of that scoring instinct play, but they actually are a better defensive team with the players that come in. So I think it's the best defensive performance of the year might give the Roosters a chance.
Nathan is
most likely
named,
to play.
and he's likely to play. My mail is he's going to play, which I'm really curious to see, because he comes back into the side and they reunite, he and Jerome, but he's coming into the side and reuniting with Jerome in career best form.
Does it worry you what they've done last month? They had 15 errors on the weekend, they won, clunky.
They haven't really been able to use a Slaterism, get their game on. They haven't been able to. But again, I come back to the fact that I give them the benefit of the doubt, a little bit like the Dogs, is that there's been an element of treading water. And Coops, they know what it takes. And I'm not saying they can just turn it on, but they've been and done it before. They do know what it takes to win this time of the year.
I think they can turn it on. It's that autopilot for them. And I feel like the emotional rush of Luai and Fisher-Harris, the last ride that this whole crew is going to do together, will be like that driving force for them to not have the 15 errors, to not have the lapses in concentration. Nathan comes back in. But how do the Roosters have to play a different style? Because I said double down on defence.
They need,
how are they
with the
score
football,
points?
With the football, they need to play a style of football, Coop. They don't need to be flash and fancy and come up with miracle plays, but they've got to take the petrol out of the tank of the big middles of Penrith. That's the reason, and I know it won't happen, but I would be putting Manu to 6, and I would be just doing a middle field assault on those big forwards from Penrith. I mean, you look and it's just one example. If you have a look at, that night with Tyron Wishart, sort of showed the way a little bit and just go, I'm not going to muck around. I'm just going to go bang and take one of those big guys on. And take them on, bit of footwork, make them miss a little bit, takes a bit of petrol out of the tank.
Well, that's why I think doubling down on defence. If this game is close at the 70th minute mark, the Roosters have the talent for a Tedesco to break through a tied line or a Swaliti or Manu to come up with a play. I don't think they're going to blow Penrith away at home 28-10, right? But if it is close and their defence is on and it's frustrating Penrith, then I think if it's 10-10, 16 all with 10 to go, one of their gun players can do it. And I think that's why sometimes in big games, you don't worry about how you score points. You're more focused on how you can restrict the opposition and just play it out in the long game.
I have Penrith as my competition favourites still. Now, Melbourne, the bookies are the favourites with Melbourne. With Nathan coming back into the side, the way Jerome has been playing, I see Penrith getting it right. They're still my favourites.
How confident are you about Nathan's shoulder?
I don't know.
Literally like a toss of a coin?
For me, it's a blind comment because I don't know. I don't know the extent of it. They kept it very much under wraps. I'm not sure. Can they win it if he's not there? I still think they can. I think they're still capable. But I don't know.
The fact is that he's playing tells me that he's super confident about it, because I would consider him not playing, saving him, because Penrith would be confident enough to beat the Roosters with that record at home to get through to the prelim, right? But the fact that he's playing tells me that he's close to 100%.
Can halfbacks go in with a bad shoulder or an arm injury and hide enough, cower enough in the defence line to basically not be exposed? I don't know. I'll let you think about that.